a lot of people don't know the possibilities. Until you open it up for them, you're like, oh, I see it now. Until you also implement something like, oh, I see it now, you know, and that's what I'm here to do. There's a possibility from a personal perspective going through the system and still being able to change the world at some point. So let's not bash our schools and say, oh, we cannot be. But there's also an opportunity for us to change how we do things from an IT, technology, short-term, long-term, that we can be able to influence. Education is a big use case, especially for AI.
Okay, question. At this time, in this 12 years, do you do any entrepreneurship?
No.
Do you? So you don't?
Yes.
So you don't venture out. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you decide, Bana? Let me start a car. What do you call this thing? A transport company back home, Bana.
Yes. That's a really good point. So we talk about this with Penny all the time. There's a guy from Cameroon. You know, we were talking about him. He was selling cocoa. He has a cocoa farm. He's French speaking, so he has a
cocoa farm.
I have a cocoa farm. I'm bringing my whatever. Then we are crushing it and selling, you know, chocolate, very good quality. So I asked him, how many chocolate bars do you sell? So he imports the cocoa, and he makes the chocolate, and he's selling them by hand. So I was like, this is a nice guy. Let me just buy 10 from you. How many have you sold? And they also looked at how much time he spent on the corridor trying to organize for that cocoa to come in. I was like, I don't think he's having the impact that he needs. Then I look at these other folks who do not have that distraction. Number one focus is the work. Focus on your work. That's the only thing that you have. So the distraction of that duality that we have is like, let me build something, Uko. Let me also focus on a little bit of this, is very distracting. Because I'm needed 100% of the time. Yes, this is my number one focus. I should not get my eyes off the prize. And I think history has taught me that sometimes you don't make as much. There's a lot more inefficiencies in the system that prevent you from making what you expect.
You're being so nice and politically correct. Let's call it what it is, because Kenyans are watching. What you're trying to say is there is a lot of ripping off of the diaspora market by the local market. And by this, I am talking about friends and family. So there's a guy who's calling you and telling you, bro, man, you know, these apartments here. I was in a land selling company, so I do understand that the biggest market, the biggest people who are being conned from was the diaspora. And they were being conned by family and friends. It's not strangers who are calling you.
And we have these conversations all the time. We're like, you know what? Someone once told me, invest where you are. When you decide to say, hey, I want to venture into something else, just sell the property there that's stable and then come buy something. Yes, property values are going up, but at the same time is that the value over there is a little bit stable and you can take care of it. If I'm buying something for, let's say, 500,000, and then, you know, in 10, 15 years, it's $1 million, still good value. But it's there. I don't have to call Njoro or Mike, ebu angalia, ujamaa jalipa, you know. No offense to my brother Mike, he would do that, you know. But that hustle is distracting you for the most important thing. Remember, you're coming in with a duality. Someone else went to Columbia, went NYU, or went even to a local school, but the number one focus is work. So if you get distracted a little bit, could be under the bus.
And I know I'm dwelling on this thing, but I really need to say this because, again, I said connecting the diaspora with home and connecting home to the diaspora. That's what we're doing here in terms of demystifying the conversation. It's not that the diaspora doesn't want to invest back home. It's not that the diaspora doesn't even want to help people back home. It's the lies. It's the theft. It's the integrity. These are the hindrances. It's the corruption. These are the hindrances of people with the finances in the diaspora investing back home.
Brother-in-law came in maybe about 2005, 2006. He got a piece of land, Karen, and it was a 2.6. He was like, but you have to put a deposit. So he's like, Ansi is like, I gotta get this. This is a really good deal. So he meets with a guy, he does the first mistake, writes a cashier's check. I believe this guy, I have his number. He's talking about his family, we have a connect. And I have an attorney who's going to double check the paperwork and everything. Akapatiana 1 million. Huyo jamaa akabadilisha simu, disappeared. Another private investigator says, hey, I can find out for you, but you have to facilitate. Now na hiyo number iko na manga. Hebu nipatie 15K niende. 15, 20K. He ended up spending 200,000-300,000 on trying to fuata that money. He was like, hey. The attorney, he said, hey, I'm going to sue this guy because he was supposed to do something. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. Then all of a sudden, he was losing a lot of money. The case is still in the courts. Somehow it's been extended. So that's one case.
And now you're not even suing the guy who stole. Now you're suing the guy who you called to say.
Yes, but there are also instances where things have worked out well.
Okay.
You just have to find a trusted company that can be able to help you do that. Yes. And people have made a lot of money as well.
Yep.
Yes.
It's important for us to have a candid conversation about this, because there are opportunities in this, and that's now the place of connecting the diaspora to home.
Yes.
For me, Kenya, the amount of investment opportunities are out of this world. There are so many. It's such an not imagined market. It's such a ripe market in different areas, different industries.
Yes.
But even how the diaspora have to look back at home, now this is where the different version comes in, is, yeah, this guy banned you, but that doesn't mean this next guy is banning you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't take the heat for this guy.
Yeah.
And also stop looking at Kenya and home like the way it was when you left.
Yes.
You haven't been home for 20 years, bruh.
Yes.
This is a whole different city.
Yes,
Don't start saying, hey, I'm gonna internet, of course, and it's better than thingy.
Yes.
There are a lot of stuff that work in Kenya that are better than where you are.
Yes, and that's true. I think sometimes some people look down, but this is a beautiful country. I am excited to be Kenyan any day. I'm excited to be American too. It gave me the opportunities. But at the same time, I don't denounce and look down at what we have.
I love it.
We are still maturing, and I think we're going to mature a lot faster than we think that we are. With AI and the differentiators in technology, we're going to change the world.
And let me say, as we transition into this meta conversation, and let me say, I love the fact that you've come.
Yes.
Because one of the things that happens when you get of such value as a diasporan, and by this time have you become an American citizen?
Yes.
At this time, so you are...
Yes, that was a move in 2010, so that was like the blue passport nikakuja nayo.
In Kenya you can be dual citizen.
Yes.
What about in America?
You can be a dual citizen.
Okay.
Yes. But I think in Kenya they are beginning to tax people a lot more, so it depends with what property you own and what transactions you have in the country.
Man, oh boy.
Yes.
That's
so, I think in the short term I choose to pay the visa and contribute to the economy of Kenya.
Oh, man. So you come in, but for you, you'd rather just, let me just pay the visa.
Yes.
Because of the tax implications that...
Well, yes.
From the dual citizenship.
And I don't spend enough time here, but I want to start spending a lot more time now. Yes.
Again, I'll say this. I know there's all these foundational things that may make it difficult for you to give the value that it is that you have. But on behalf of the country, and I don't speak as a president, but I speak as just somebody who's passionate about the digital space. I thank you so much for bothering to come. Bothering to jump on a plane to come, even not just to do CTA, but to share the insights that you have about this digital space, the opportunities. Even if all you're going to do is open up minds. You talked about, I heard you say inspire, but I also heard you say aspire.
Yes.
That was very beautiful for me to hear that those words leave your mouth.
Yes. A lot of people don't know the possibilities. Until you open it up for them, you're like, oh, I see it now. Until you also implement something like, oh, I see it now. And that's what I'm here to do. There's a possibility from a personal perspective going through the system and still being able to change the world at some point. So let's not bash our schools and say, oh, we cannot be. But there's also an opportunity for us to change how we do things from an IT, technology, short-term, long-term, that we can be able to influence. Education is a big use case, especially for AI. How do you use education? How do you use, for example, I'll give you an example. You can go online now and create a Harvard business case, or get a Harvard business case. Used to be you had to buy that.
Yep.
Very expensive. Or you can create a scenario. So you're learning the same way people are learning in the best institutions in the world here. You know, think about that impact in the next 4 or 5 years. All of us are the same.
Bro, I've never done that ChatGPT prompt, but I'm going to do it. That's so powerful, what you said.
Yes, and you can create the scenario based on your environment. It doesn't have to be, sometimes you get the Harvard Business Review, you're like, they're talking about arbitrator. What does this mean? In our context, it might not be a case, but you can say, hey, you know, personalize it in what our environment is.
Okay.
Yes.
We're taking a break here.
Yes.
When we're coming back, we're going in deep.
Yes.
We're about to go into the meta conversation, guys.
Yes.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
Yes.